We have a thing of pizza dough and we are throwing it up in the air. It's a constant volume because we're not adding more dough to it, but it's staying as a cylinder and it's just getting wider and wider as the radius decreases. Or as the radius increases, sorry, the height is decreasing. It's getting thinner and thinner and thinner, this pizza. We know a couple values here from the question. At time t equals k, the height of dough is 1/3 inch, the radius of dough is 12 inches, and the radius of the dough is increasing at a rate of 2 inches. And so we can put that into our known toolbox. Knowns. The first thing we know that the radius is 12, the height is 1/3, and the radius of the dough is increasing, so dr dt is 2. Question 4.2 asks us, at time t equals k, at what rate is the height of the dough decreasing with respect to time? The volume V of a cylinder with a radius r and height h is given by V equals pi r squared h. So we're going to need to use this formula. We're given V equals pi r squared h. And so we have to find the derivative with respect to time of the left and the right. So I'll do this in a different color so we can track this work. So we need to do d dt of V equals d dt of pi r squared h. Now, d dt of v is just going to be dv dt because it's just a single variable. That's what happens because if we apply the power rule, it becomes the power of 0, so that's 1, and then dv dt equals. Now here, I'm going to take this pi out. Why? Because pi is just a constant, right? It's just like 2, it's just like 7, it's just like 100. We can take it out. So pi times the derivative with respect to time of r squared h. R squared h, these are two variables, they're being multiplied, which means I'm going to need to apply the power rule. As a reminder, and I'll do that just right in the corner here, as a reminder, if two things are being multiplied and we're finding the derivative, that is going to equal f prime g plus fg prime. So, going back here, this is dv dt equals pi times the derivative of the first thing, so that's r squared. What's the derivative of r squared? 2r. But since it's with respect to t, it's also 2r dr dt times the second thing, which is just h, plus the first thing, which is r squared, times the derivative of the second thing. H will just become dh dt. And so we get dv over dt equals pi times all of that. And so I'm going to redistribute the pi everywhere and just move some things around. I'm going to do this in a third color. We get dv dt equals 2 pi r h dr dt plus pi r squared dh dt. The question here is asking us at what rate is the height of the dough decreasing. So that means this question is asking us to find dh dt. I see that in my question. And I also know that I know, and I'll do this in blue, I know dr dt, I know h, and I know r. But the only variable I don't know is dv dt. How is the volume changing? How am I going to solve this? Well, if we look earlier in the question, we'll see that this was a constant volume of pizza dough. Since the volume is constant, is it changing at all? No. So the rate of change of our pizza dough, dv dt, is 0. So that means this dv dt down here, we can replace that. We can replace this with 0. Because the volume's not changing. And so now we're going to solve this out as we normally would. And so we're just going to plug everything in. So let's do that really quickly. Maybe it'll help to do different colors. 0 equals 2 pi times, what's r? R is 12. H is 1/3. dr dt is 2. Plus pi, r is 12. Squared. dh dt. That's what we're trying to solve for. Maybe I'll keep that as yellow so we can see it. All right, doing the math, and I'm going to move this over here. Doing the math out on that, I see that 0 equals 12 times 1/3 is 4, times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, so 16 pi plus 144 pi dH dt. We want to get dH dt by itself, so I'm going to subtract 16 pi. So negative 16 pi equals 144 pi dH dt, and I said I'd keep it yellow, so dH dt, dH dt. Final step is just to divide 144 pi on both sides, so we get dH dt by itself. If I do that, divided by 144 pi, I get, and those pi's are going to cancel on that side, I get that dH dt equals negative 16 divided by 144. I believe that's 8. 144 divided by 16. No, it's 9. Sorry. So it's going to be negative 9 pi. And the question asks for units of measure. This is volume, so this is going to be inches cubed per second. Oh, this is the height, sorry. So it's going to be inches per second. And there's our answer. Took us a little bit of time, but we got there. The height of the dough is decreasing by 9 pi inches per second at time k.